Our personalities are all a vital part of us, but how accurately do we describe our own personalities to each other? When asked for a job interview to describe a personality, how many people seem to forget every adjective in the dictionary? In psychology, it's much easier to describe personality using two major assessments, the MBTI and the Big Five. Using these assessments can help you gain a better understanding of yourself, which can not only be useful for your own self-fulfillment, but it can help you ace that job interview. Today, I'll be using The Sims 4 to help me describe these tests and the results to you in an easy way. I would like to acknowledge that the game's base features are not the perfect canvas to demonstrate these traits on, but they help to provide a basic understanding of the traits and make them easy to compare with one another. Before I delve into these tests, I'll clear up some misconceptions. First, the results of the tests are not black and white. Every trait is on a spectrum, and it's very rare that people are on either extreme end of it. Additionally, websites like 16personalities.com can tell you what your ideal career is based on your personality type, and while they may not be completely incorrect, it's also akin to stereotyping, so be wary. And finally, none of the traits are inherently bad, they're just traits. The first test I will discuss is the Myers-Briggs Type Inventory, or MBTI. According to Myers and Dewall's Psychology, the MBTI can be useful for finding leadership style, helping with counseling, and finding how to best work in a team. Additionally, many test takers feel that the results are accurate and almost mind-reading. The test uses 4 scales. The first scale is introversion and extroversion. Introverts tend to keep to themselves, finding social situations to be exhausting. They're more quiet and have fewer and closer friends, and according to 16personalities.com, they're more likely to carefully listen to others. Physiologically, their brains are very reactive to stimuli, which can make large groups of people uncomfortable, but it also makes them excellent at observation. This is not to be confused with shyness, but introverts can be more prone to shyness. In The Sims, this could be equated to the loner trait, as loners feel uncomfortable or tense in large groups of people, but keep their good friends close, and they're happiest when they're alone. This does not mean they cannot cope in social situations, it just means it takes a little more energy. Much like real life, this also doesn't mean they can't be successful, as we can see that Robin is very well advanced in their career. On the other hand, extroverts are very talkative. They have many friends and gain energy from talking to others. Their brains seek out stimulation, so being alone can easily lead to boredom. In The Sims, this is associated with the outgoing trait, as these Sims seek out socialization and become sad if they haven't spoken to anyone in a while, but become happy when they are speaking to someone. The second scale is intuition and sensing. An intuitive person finds themselves being more creative and being able to do things without direction, and according to 16 personalities, they give things deeper meaning, but can jump into complex problems too quickly. In The Sims, this would be a creative Sim, as they find themselves in their art or solving problems without an instruction manual. On the flip side, a sensing person is very by the book and takes things one step at a time. They can also be seen as observant and very present-centered, and they are focused on practical, simple solutions. In The Sims, this is the practice makes perfect trait. This isn't a perfect match, but these Sims take longer to do things, putting more thought into them. They don't know off the tops of their heads how to do things, and it takes time for them to go through the steps because they want to do it right. The third scale is thinking and feeling. Someone who is thinking uses logic to make their decisions with a scientific approach to everyday choices, coming up with many possibilities. However, sometimes they dismiss emotions while making those decisions. In The Sims, this could be the genius trait. It's not a one-to-one match, but these Sims value logic over anything else and can gain the logic skill and the ability to use it to reason with upset Sims. On the other hand, someone who is feeling is one who follows their heart. They allow their emotions to rule their decisions and come across as caring and compassionate, but their empathy can lead them to burnout when they become involved in the lives of others. In The Sims, this is the good trait, as these Sims are extremely empathetic and let the emotions of the Sims around them dictate their thoughts and emotions, and their moods are directly influenced by those around them. The final scale of the MBTI assessment is perceiving versus judging. Perceiving could also be called prospective, and these people are observant of little things and are very open-minded and creative. They're very reactive, which can lead to impulsive decision-making. In The Sims, this could be the goofball trait, because these Sims are playfully reactive to other Sims, noticing the best way to make them happy, but it can lead them to say the wrong thing at the wrong time. Finally, someone who is judging tends to label things, but is much better at decision-making. They love to plan ahead and can be exhausted if they have to deal with many changes at once. A Sim could demonstrate this with the neat trait because these Sims like things a certain way and can become uncomfortable when the environment changes. The trait in the game isn't a perfect representation, but it provides a basic understanding of their mindset. The next personality assessment is the Big Five personality test. According to Myers and Dewall, this assessment is more backed by research and tests on 5 dimensions, and it has also begun to be used to understand personality disorders. The first dimension is openness to experience, which describes how open-minded a person is to new things and abstract ideas. Someone with higher openness to experience is very open to new ideas and loves to come up with new creative ones. And in The Sims, this would make a creative sim because they love the abstract and find themselves thriving in the arts and new situations. Someone with lower openness is someone who finds themselves with consistent habits. According to Truity.com, they're more practical and traditional. And in The Sims, this would also equal the practice makes perfect trait because they're more calculated and practical. They may take longer to do things and are less open-minded, but they like to find a pattern that works and stick with it. The second dimension is conscientiousness, or reliability. People with high conscientiousness are dependable and follow through on their commitments. They're goal-oriented and persistent, making sure to follow through with their own personal goals and work goals. For Sims, this would be the loyal trait, as they follow through with commitments on other Sims and feel sad if they break those promises. They're loyal to their workplaces and feel a sense of accomplishment, and are very loyal to their romantic partners. People with low conscientiousness are more go-with-the-flow kind of people. They think more fluidly and spontaneously and can become easily sidetracked. In The Sims, this would be the non-committal trait, as they become tense after staying with the same job or romantic partner for a long period of time, finding themselves sidetracked with other things. The third dimension is extroversion, which is very similar to the introvert and extrovert scale on the MBTI assessment, so I'll keep it brief here. Those high on the scale are very sociable and are represented by outgoing Sims. Those who are low on the scale are very reserved and are represented by loner Sims. The fourth dimension is agreeableness, which can be thought of as how much someone likes going along with what other people say and do. People on the high end of the scale tend to go along with what others do and are very empathetic, often putting others' needs before their own. This is represented in Sims with the good trait, as they follow what their friends do and often experience empathy. Those on the lower end of the scale are more argumentative and less concerned with the needs of others. These are self-assured Sims. They prioritize their own well-being and are confident enough to speak out against the group. The final dimension is neuroticism, or how visibly emotional someone is, especially when faced with a stressor. Someone on the high end of the scale wears their emotions on their sleeves, and you can see what they're feeling at all times, and they respond very emotionally to stressors. In Sims, this would be an erratic Sim. They experience emotions tenfold and visibly show their emotions more than other Sims, but this trait isn't fully accurate because these Sims also display random emotions with no stimuli attached. Someone with lower neuroticism isn't as emotional and can brush things off. There's no specific trait in this game that relates to this, but most other Sims don't demonstrate the amount of emotions that erratic Sims do. An alternate way to these two assessments to view personality is through psychoanalysis. This idea comes from Freud, who you may have heard of before, and he believed that everyone had unconscious thoughts, feelings, desires, and memories, and that personality traits or problems that arose later in life were a result of childhood development. The idea is that during psychoanalytic therapy, clients are met with the correct conditions to bring their childhood memories to the conscious mind to be processed. Let's take a look at Robin, for example. Freud and psychoanalysis would say that Robin is reserved and quiet because as a child, they had to be quiet to protect themselves from judgment. This may or may not be why Robin is introverted, but this is what Freud would think. I hope this video helped you to better understand the MBTI and Big 5 personality models while also having some fun with my Sims along the way. Remember that just because a personality test tells you something doesn't mean you should take it verbatim in your life, and that you are still in control of your own actions and choices, not just a set of letters or numbers. Thank you for watching, and my resources will be in the description below.